Finally, be strong in the Lord and in his mighty power. Put on the full armor of God, so that you can take your stand against the devil's schemes. For our struggle is not against flesh and blood, but against the rulers, against the authorities, against the powers of this dark world, and against the spiritual forces of evil in the heavenly realms. Therefore put on the full armor of God, so that when the day of evil comes, you may be able to stand your ground, and after you have done everything, to stand. Stand firm then, with the belt of truth buckled around your waist, with the breastplate of righteousness in place, and with your feet fitted with the readiness that comes from the gospel of peace. In addition to all this, take up the shield of faith, with which you can extinguish all the flaming arrows of the evil one. Take the helmet of salvation and the sword of the Spirit, which is the word of God.
The armor of God. Be a warrior for God and fight the battle. Fight the righteous battle. Fight the good battle of faith. Fight! The shield of faith. Don't give up on God, because God will not give up on you.
The belt of truth. The belt of truth. The belt of truth. The belt of truth. The committed Christian and Satan are on a collision course. The committed Christian and Satan are on a collision course. We need to understand something of how Satan attacks us. The believer is involved in a warfare, a battle, a battle, a battle. And so we must be ready for the war. We must be aware of the battle. Be aware of the battle. It is inevitable that your life will intersect with the forces of hell as you live for God. I believe the enemy attacks the believer to undermine God's character and credibility. He desires to undermine God. He wants you to doubt God. He did it in the garden with Eve. Hath God really said? And then he impugned God's motive by saying, well, the reason God doesn't want you to eat that is because God knows you'll be like him and God can't stand the competition. The belt of truth. The belt of truth. In effect, in the New Testament, it says if you deny God, his word, you make him a liar. And that's what Satan wants to do. He wants people to think God is the liar and he tells the truth. So while God tells us he is truth and Satan is a liar, Satan tells us he is truth and God is a liar. Second thing, I'm convinced that Satan attacks us to make it hard to live the Christian life. To make it hard to live the Christian life. He doesn't want it to be easy. He wants it to be very difficult. One would be through persecution. That would be the most extreme way. may come on the job, may come from your friends and so forth. Some people really don't want to come out for God because they don't want to lose their friends. They don't want to move out of the circle they're in. They don't want to be thought to be different. They don't want to have to change their relationships with people. They're very comfortable with the acceptance they have. They like being liked, and they're just not ready to take a different tack, which may alienate them. The belt of truth. Look at verse 13 of Ephesians 6. Wherefore, take unto you the whole armor of God, that ye may be able to withstand in the evil day, and having done all, to stand. It doesn't matter where the enemy comes from. It doesn't matter how subtle his attack is in a war, if when he gets there, you're ready for him. It doesn't matter what tack Satan takes. It doesn't matter what path he comes on. It doesn't matter whether he's crawling on his belly or flying overhead. It doesn't matter how subtle his attack or how blatant it is. If you're ready when he gets there, that's all that matters. And the believer with his armor on will stand whatever the attack. The sword of the Spirit, which is the Word of God, is attached to the belt of truth. Stand, therefore. And that takes us back. The end of verse 13, having done all, to stand. The middle of verse 11, that you may be able to stand. The idea is to stand against the attack of Satan, to be firm against his onslaught, to be victorious when he comes. Therefore, if you're going to stand against those things, you must have your loins girded about with aletheia. The sword of the Spirit, which is the Word of God, is attached to the belt of truth. The belt of truth. Truth is revealed in the Word. You have the truth, as it were. You take it out to fight the battle, right? The belt of truth. Belt of truth. The belt of truth. The belt of truth. Belt of truth. The belt of truth. The belt of truth.
Spiritual warfare. The armor of light is love. But we have to start or continue to love ourselves in order to love people. The armor of God resides in the heart, which is the heart of love that comes from above. Wearing the armor of light is being like Jesus Christ. We have to be Christ-minded, meaning protecting our mind by not allowing negative thoughts to take over our minds. Negativity affects the emotions, so be on guard and draw near God, and therefore Satan will flee.